Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. Actually, we're going to talk about tabletop role. Excuse me. We're going to talk about tabletop role-playing games and how we are incredibly fortunate that tabletop role-playing games are not designed and created by millionaires. Okay, so we're very unusual today. I'm just talking about the tabletop role-playing game scene, right? Like the industry, right? And here's a fact for you. Tabletop role-playing games are not made by millionaires. Virtually everyone who makes tabletop role-playing games is middle class to poor. And I'll tell you right now, there's virtually no better way to take a confident, charismatic, intelligent person and make sure they never make more than like 100, 200 grand max ever, right? Than to make them into a tabletop role-playing game designer, right? So that's just it. No tabletop role-playing game designers in the world are millionaires, and I'm talking literally none, zero. And I defy you to correct me, right? Like, there's not a single person who has written start to finish with help, right? But they're the lead designer, a tabletop role-playing game, and they're a millionaire. No one. Not John Wick. Not, and you're like, wait, what about Matthew Mercer? He's never designed his own game, right? All he did was rub Dungeons & Dragons up to his face and he brought in 20 million. That doesn't mean he has 20 million. But Matthew Mercer is legit a millionaire. I'm very convinced of that, right? But he's not a tabletop role-playing game designer, right? He's just a good dungeon master, right? But like Luke Crane, I'll list them off. Luke Crane, Mike Merles, Monty Cook, Robin Laws. I'm listing the best designers in the hobby, right? Like, and these are some of the few recognizable names, right? And there's just Fred Hicks. Not a one of them is a millionaire, right? And we are incredibly blessed by this. Okay, so it's actually a very good thing. It means that the only people who work in this industry do it as a labor of love, because there ain't no money in it. There just is no money in tabletop role-playing games. This is shockingly clear. Tabletop role-playing games are one of the most transformative, incredible creations that have ever come, because if they understand what they are based on their inheritance from Gary Gygax, not only does he have a legacy, but if you understand Gary, you become an inheritor, right? Not an inheritor of his house or any of his useless, small physical things. You become an inheritor of his grace, his intelligence, his imagination, his ideas, his direction, and his momentum. We become inheritors of what Gary put on the earth, if we understand him, which incredibly few people do, right? And I feel bad too, because a lot of people spend a lot of time reading his history and never understand what he was, what he created, what he accomplished. It's so, it's sad to me. All right, but get this, right? So basically, so tabletop role-playing games are this incredibly amazing, awesome thing. They have the possibility to be that, right? For some people, they're just a game. Who cares? Whatever. Shoots and ladders. Who gives two rats, right? But for some people, tabletop role-playing games can be a transformative thing, right? They can really improve your life, right? So, so that is a fact. But here's another fact. They are one of the worst business models under the sun, right? You're like, hey, give me $50. I'm going to give you this book. You got everything you need for 10 years, right? Like, it's the worst business model on the earth, right? So, okay. So why are we talking about this today? Well, it's Matrix 4. Spoilers for Matrix Resurrection by Lana Wachowski and Warner Brothers. Oh my gosh, this movie was the worst dumpster fire I have seen in a while. It is absolute garbage. Just terrible, okay? Now, I have an incredible amount of sympathy for Lana Wachowski. I don't think she intended to dump this thing on the world, right? As badly as it was. But there's a problem, okay? What is the problem? So, a buddy of mine said months ago to me, he's like, ooh, Matrix Resurrections, man, it's coming out. I'm so excited. And I'm like, you shouldn't be excited. And now this is my lightsaber friend. He's like a custom lightsaber building expert. And and I got my own custom fire sabers, lightsaber with a Profi core and a NeoPixel blade, after listening to him, right? And it's been an incredible purchase. I'm very, very happy with it. So, and he walked me through that, right? It's a smart guy, right? But I was like, this is not going to be good. And he's like, why don't you think it has any chance of being good? I was like, I know this is going to be bad. Here's why, okay? It's just math. It's just math, right? So here's why Lana Wachowski had no possibility of making a good movie, right? Well, she had 1% chance of making a good movie and 99% chance of failing, okay? And here it goes. All right. So, first of all, just the facts on the ground already. Like, Matrix 1, which the Wachowskis did, was absolutely amazing. It was a film that changed movies, like bullet time, incredible, lifted combat, 50 feet above where it was, paved the road for John Wick. It changed movies, and it changed sci-fi for probably 10 years, right? And just put a turbo on both of them, right? It gave an extra 5 or 10 years of life to cyberpunk and new cool cyberpunk ideas. And it had something relevant to say about the internet at the time, right? Then movie 2 comes out, and it's a good movie, but it's not a transformative movie. It doesn't put a booster rocket on two industries, sci-fi and on movies. And then Matrix 3 comes out, and it just said, hey, the Wachowskis are out of ideas. This is as far as they could take this idea. And there was still money left. There was still interest in a movie, but they didn't have anything relevant to say on technology and culture or anything else, right? And that was on Matrix 3, right? So Matrix 3, Wachowskis don't have anything to be ashamed of. They've done one of the best movies ever made. The Matrix is amazing, right? And they presented real ideas. The red pill, blue pill is a meme today, right? Not even a meme. It's literally a way of life for some people, right? Like, is very, very significant statement. It's a big thing, right? So why did Lana Wachowski only have a 1% chance of making a good movie? Because of what she is. She has become a Hollywood millionaire. And I'll tell you right now, millionaires are boring at the 19 out of 20 level. So let's do a D20, right? If you take a 20 and you put and you just collect up a bunch of millionaires, only one of them can be interesting. The rest of them are boring. Okay. Now, millionaires do come in different sizes, shapes and sizes. Like, there are conservative millionaires. They have their own level of boring, but a Hollywood millionaire, they're the most boring, right? And the reason why is what they care about, right? Like, they're gonna where they stand on environmentalism, right? Where they stand. What social stances they have to adhere to. It's a playbook, right? Hollywood millionaire playbook, right? Who's the Hollywood millionaire going to support? The Dem or the Republican? You don't have to answer that question. You don't have to ask that. You don't have to answer that question. It's already answered, right? She's boring because of what she is. She has, and here's the issue, right? If you're going to make good art, you got to be a hungry predator artist, right? That's at roll the D20. If you're not a hungry predator artist, you only got a 1 in 20 chance of making decent art. 19% chance, 19 out of 20, you're going to roll on you iterated something else, right? And the other thing is, Lana Wachowski at this point, she gets the blessings of being a Hollywood millionaire. She gets invited to the parties we don't get to invite. She gets to meet the president, right, if she wants to. She gets to travel the world, right? She gets to go on parties on yachts. She might even own a yacht, right? She gets to drive any car she wants. She gets to rent a gorgeous house or own a gorgeous house, depending on how much she saved, right? She gets all the benefits of life, but you know what? She doesn't get to be interesting. She doesn't get to have good ideas. She doesn't get to have new creative ideas. And the reason why is she's living a latte life, right? There's lattes brought to her whenever she wants. There's no hunger. There's no predator. Her hunger has been sated, and she has turned from predator to prey, right? And the reason why is, in Hollywood, you can't be a predator. You have to be prey, right? There's only room for a few predators at the top who decide everything at the studios, and everybody else is prey, and they have to be in the same bracket, right? All right, and they have to think the same way, and they have to, their opinions and their values are handed to them on day one of Hollywood millionaire, right? It's just the way it is, and it's a cost. Now, I'll tell you right now, right? Now, what was her 1% chance to make a good movie? I think any and all people have made incredible art and are now in a position to do something different, right? And create the next iteration. You don't like Steven Spielberg. Please just stop making movies, and Francis Ford Coppola, stop making movies. What your job is now is to anoint. Go find the hungry predator artists out there that can make cool things, and you be the on-ramp that brings them into the Hollywood. There is value in Hollywood millionaires. They can still make great art, not on their own, only by identifying hungry predator artists, anointing them, and bringing them up, right? And that's what should have happened. Lana Wachowski could have, gone anywhere, gone to New York, frankly, gone to Illinois, found some, seriously, some artist that, somebody, you said, hey, you got to watch this 20-minute short that was shot on an iPhone that was shot in Indiana, right? This person is the next Francis Ford Coppola. This person, is the next George Lucas, right? And then Lana could have brought them in and had a few ideas and said, okay, listen, 5% of the ideas on this are going to be mine, 95% of these are going to be yours, and this thing's going to be amazing. And I'm going to make sure that you're connected to the money and that you have access. And I'm also going to protect you from a few things that I know are going to take you down, or that could take you down, right? Or going to try to take you down. That would have been, she could have made an amazing movie. But the reality is she has no new ideas. And she doesn't have any problems or any opinions that anybody wants to hear, because she's a Hollywood millionaire. Everybody's already heard everything she has to say, right? She doesn't have anything unique or new to say, right? And frankly, don't cry for her, right? The reason she's not hungry and not a predator is she's part of the machine at this point, right? And her payout is incredible. Any clothes she wants, any car she wants, any boat she wants, any house she wants, whatever she wants to eat, whenever she wants to eat, any travel she wants. There's no need for tears, right? And get this, in my opinion, Lana deserves it. She didn't need to make Matrix 4, right? But, and by the way, if you think it's cruel for me to say this movie is a garbage movie, the movie says it in the movie, right? Literally in the movie, there's a character that we are shown to be a villain, a jerk character who literally says, well, Warner Brothers is going to make this with or without us. We better make it. Ugh. Like, Warner Brothers says, hey, all you masses out there, you're so stupid. We're going to tell you in the movie that this movie is bad. And you're not going to realize it. I realized it, and I realized it when you said the same thing in Space Jam 2. Like, Warner Brothers, please stop telling us in the movie that the movie is bad and is a bad idea to even make. Could you do that, right? Could you maybe not tell us in the movie that we're idiots for watching the movie? Or like, it's shocking. Like, it's so incredibly, it's so bad, right? So we are incredibly fortunate to be connected to an industry that is not plagued by these boring millionaires, right? The people who are making tabletop role-playing games today, they are looking back at Gary and saying, okay, we see this incredible genius that lived then. He had the knowledge and the capabilities that came to bear in 1974. What can I accomplish in 2021? Amanda Hayman has echoed everything that Gary accomplished in 1974. It's not at the same level. It's at about a 90% level of what Gary accomplished. But she's like, hey, mechanical complexity for combat for the first 47 years. Let's open up the second gate. Let's do mechanical complexity for social interaction. Let's start learning about ourselves. Let's make psychology a bullet point for our dungeon master. Just one more discipline they need to master, right? Making us beyond human, making us incredible, right? It's really something, right? So, one warning: if you haven't done it, do not waste your time on Matrix 4. It is shockingly bad, right? And it will assault you right to your face, like how bad it is, right? It literally says in the movie, this movie is bad, right? I'm like, holy cows, like, and it is so galling because these corporate media types are like, we can insult you to your face, and you're still just gonna keep eating what we serve up. Ugh, it's frustrating. It is very, very frustrating. That's my opinion. Thank goodness tabletop role playing games are made by hungry predator artists still, right? Oh, that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you see this thing? Did was there anything redeeming in it that I missed? Oh my gosh, what a steaming pile! Wow. Oh, that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.